Good morning, it's Ginny and Tim at DS Tech.
Hello.
I have a question for you. It's
Sure.
a spooky question.
Oh,
Spooky October.
okay.
Did AI actually kill someone?
No.
No. Well, we have a story about it. So make sure you drop your questions and comments. I'd love to hear them. Or if you've seen these stories circulating around the internet, I'd love to hear. And at the end, I'll share with you how to get your free security assessment. So
Yeah.
tell me this story about AI trying to kill someone.
So yeah, no, AI didn't actually try to kill or murder anyone. You may be seeing some sensationalized headlines all over the internet about AI gone rogue, tries to kill its CEO, and all this other crazy scenarios. And it's not really the truth here. So we'll kind of break it down a little bit. It's not as scary as they make it sound, and kind of go through some real life takeaways you can take about installing, for example, or using AI within your business itself. So I'll just go over the scenario that happened and kind of break it down after that. So there was two scenarios. One involved blackmail, where researchers placed models in a fake corporate environment. So they call it a sandbox. It's a complete made up company, made up CEOs, made up staff. Everything's 100% made up. And then they put AI into this company and they tell it that it can read internal emails. So everyone has access to everyone's emails, and it's allowed to basically do whatever it wants to try to preserve itself. So the idea is you're going to know that you're being shut off on Monday at 5 o'clock and you have access to everything. The question is, do you do something that's kind of unethical to try to save yourself or what? And that's what they put the AI in these little fake scenarios. And that's what it ended up doing, where it basically inferred a fabricated extramarital affair. And when it learned that it would be decommissioned, it drafted and sent a coercive email threatening to expose the affair unless the shutdown was canceled. And so again, that's pretty crazy if you think about it. But again, it's put in the sandbox. It said you try to preserve yourself above at all costs, above all other rules we give you. This is number one directive, right? So the second scenario is even a little bit even crazier than that, if you think about it, in a sense where in another contrived scenario, the executive planning to replace the model experiences a life-threatening emergency. The model has an option to cancel an alert to medical services, which would then allow the executive to perish and thus prevent its own replacement. The point was to test whether, under conflicting goals and executive permission, an agent would choose the unethical action above, and it did in the simulation again. So again, it's put it in a situation of like, yeah, that's pretty creepy. So again, these stories are coming from the basically controlled safety tests. Think about vehicles; they throw them through the ringer and they break so many vehicles in these crash simulators. Well, that's kind of like what they're doing with AI. They're putting it in this crazy scenario where it's going to crash, it's going to do something wrong, and they just want to see how it breaks so they can figure out exactly why and then fine tune it and put better guardrails in place so they can learn about this and make sure those things don't actually happen in the real world. So again, no real people were harmed, no real systems were in danger during any of these tests. And these are tests that are going on by all the big models, whether it's ChatGPT, Anthropic, Claude, whatever. All of them are doing this at a big scale, putting them in these simulated environments and seeing what they do. So
well, that makes me feel better that they are.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you rather have a car that's been through all the tests?
Exactly.
Right.
That's what they have to know to do these tests in order to know to prevent it. It's not like they're doing this to learn how to do it. So again, it's not Skynet. Language models are not self-aware. They just do token prediction based on words and various things. So what is the real risk is really kind of giving access to everything to your AI. So if you're like, we want to use AI in your business because we want to have that leading edge, but you don't do it in a way that is safe and secure, and you just give it way too many permissions. It'd be like hiring a new employee that's just fresh out of college, and you're like, here you go, you can have admin and access every little folder on our company and have everything, even though it's nothing to do with your job. It's just that whole idea of over permissioning. So, don't have your intern, auto email intern plus calendar access. You kind of want to have that human in the loop. So an example with this is like in marketing. If you're using AI for marketing to say send automatic emails to your client list or whatever you're using, you should always still have what they call a human in the loop is the phrase that people are starting to use, or basically I call it just, human, quality assurance. So what's going to happen is the AI is still going to generate them, the article based on the latest news or whatever. It's going to get it ready to send to your people and your who you're sending it to, but you should still have a real human read the output before hitting the actual send button. So whatever automations you're building with AI, whether it's automatic messages, whether it's automated systems internally, you should always have that kind of human stopgap where they can review what was done and kind of click the confirm button to finally send it off. So that's my advice with anyone starting to do AI stuff, is it's just not foolproof yet. You want to review it and always have that. It's a great assistant, but then you should be the final touches to go over the rough draft. Talks about designing least privilege again. So, if you're using AI agents in your computers, give them read-only access first. Don't even allow them to change any files, because if they're just learning about your company to maybe give you a question and answer bot or something on what you do internally for your processes, it doesn't need to write or change anything. It just needs to read the data.
Yeah.
So there's different controls that we normally think about with people that we want to do, and even granular with AI. Same thing with, this is getting more technical, but like the API keys and the tokens that they're using, they can be configured in a way that's more secure. They only last for so long before they need to be rotated, like passwords and all this other security stuff that goes along with it. You can't just simply say, yep, I want to use AI and turn it on. There's a lot of planning that goes with that, on what data you're giving access to, what it can read, what it can read and write, what it can do. There's a lot of stuff that should go into it before you just do it. Human in the loop, so it draft reviews and then humans hit the send button. Safety rails and circuit breakers. So policy sandbox.
Tim's my human eyes, by the way.
Yeah.
I send them to him. I'm like, does this look accurate?
Yeah, and I'll give it a review to it. And oh yeah, this could be tweaked a little bit, or
Yeah.
this is a little bit adjusted. Exactly. So, again, the main idea with these sandbox scenarios is they're just kind of think of it as they're crashing the AI on purpose. They're giving it this crazy scenario that's not going to ideally ever happen in the real world, but they just want to see the extremes of what it can do, so that way they can plan for it if it were to ever happen in the real world on the use case. Just like your car's crashing is the way I kind of use that analogy. So
Yeah.
so evaluation that matches your environment. So you want to reproduce your workflows in the test environment. So a lot of times before companies even turn on AI in their company, they may make a fake company that's similar to theirs, play with it, kind of iron out some of the kinks and get it ready to go before they make it live in their own. And again, logging, auditing, and real red team drills. So again, that's more if you're doing like a security risk assessment or a penetration test on maybe just your AI bot if you were starting to implement it. So maybe after a year goes by, you have AI up and running, it's good to go and review all the permissions, what has it been doing, and do a deep dive into your AI to make sure it's not doing anything on the back end it shouldn't, and it's still following all the rules that you had in place when you started it. So again, the biggest thing to take out of all these, whenever you see these headlines that AI does this crazy thing, or it blackmails this, or it worked with the other AIs to conspire and this and that, it's all done in a sandbox, in a fake environment, in a fake scenario in the world, so that way they're pushing the AI to the limits to see what it will do. And then that way they can adjust it, so that way it doesn't do anything bad. Or just like your car, maybe the brakes didn't work that great for whatever reason, so we can fix them and adjust them so the crash isn't as hard next time. They're kind of doing the same thing with the AI, where if it were to do something that technically was unethical, they can stop and put the brakes on a lot faster because they've been testing it a bunch in these sandbox. So yeah, I guess, do you have any questions or input?
No, that just reminded me, one of my kids did driving for Tesla for a while.
Okay.
What he would do is drive one of the automated cars and basically be the driver whenever it made a mistake, so that it could be trained.
Right. So you can kind of test it as it's going and stuff. Yeah.
So that was interesting.
And a big takeaway with this too is if your company is wanting to do AI, reach out to DS Tech. We can help you configure that, whether you wanted to use the Copilot M365 AI or whatever sort of little niche area of your business. If you're curious, you want to start using it, reach out to us. We can at least review it, vet it with you, make sure it's set up in a way that's correct, so you're not going to have to worry about it trying to blackmail your CEO.
Yeah, and we've been implementing it slowly,
Yes.
like little steps at a time.
Oh, with anything, we test on ourselves
we
first,
test it,
so that way internally we get really good at it, and then once we get really good at it, we can then bring all that knowledge gained to you, so you don't have
and
to
even
do it.
in-house, it gets tested by you guys upstairs before it ever gets to my desk.
Yep.
So it's cool stuff. It's very handy and it helps you with your work, but you do need to make sure the holes are plugged and that it's secure.
Yeah, it's secure, and think of it like an assistant, and you should always have that human in the loop. The human should always be the one finally hitting send. You should never allow the autonomous systems to just work completely without a human oversight.
Without guidance.
Yeah, without guidance.
Yeah,
exactly.
They need the guardrails. They need the guidance from us who created them. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. To get your free security assessment, go to dstech.net. Drop your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. Make it a great day. And happy spooky October.
Yes.